Welcome to my Fire Mage guide for Dragonflight. In this video, we'll be going over the talents, rotation, and stat priorities, and anything else you guys need to know about playing a Fire Mage so that come Dragonflight, you guys are confident and ready to start playing the spec with ease. If you want a more super in-depth written guide for the spec, I would highly recommend visiting mage-hub.com or the Wowhead class guide for mages. Both are fantastic places to learn how to play mage, and it's where I get all of my knowledge from. A shout out to Toe Grinder over at Mage Hub and Preheat on the Wowhead class guide. So with that being said, let's get started. Fire Mage is one of those specs where our damage profile is all about burst damage. We have really strong mobility, strong defensives with Ice Block, and a cheat death with Cauterize. And we also come with some really great cooldowns like Time Warp and Arcane Intellect. However, we do have a few drawbacks such as no spread for AoE or cleave. Our damage is bad if we can't fully optimize our burst windows, and the spec itself is rather dependent on tuning. When trying to decide what stats you want to get on gear, there really isn't any specific kind of stat you guys want to stack. Fire stat weights are actually pretty close to each other, meaning you generally want to just go after what has the higher item level. But the too long didn't read is you really want to just be simming yourself. Simming yourself is always going to be the end all be all for finding out what is actually an upgrade for you, so always do that. Fire has no stat breaks or hard caps, meaning you're not going to be needing to make sure that you get 25% crit or anything weird like that. For talent trees, there are two builds to go with currently. The first one is for rating, and in this talent tree, you're going to be wanting to prioritize throughput and defensives as well as mobility above all else. Keep in mind that we don't have the full build unlocked yet because we're not 70, but this is what it would look like at max level. Here, we're taking things like Winter's Protection to reduce the cooldown of Ice Block by 40 seconds, Cauterize to save you from death, and Alter Time. For the dungeon build, we're going to be picking up things with a lot of utility and CC options like Blast Wave, Ring of Frost, and Ice Nova. The only difference in these two specs is basically just the mage tree. The spec tree itself is going to be the exact same for both rating and dungeons. So, moving on to the rotation. The Fire Mage rotation revolves around two concepts. The first is maximizing hot streak generation, and the second is making sure that you do the most damage possible during your combustion window. Fire is all about hot streak. Hot Streak is a buff you get after you do 2 critical strikes in a row. The first crit you do gives you the buff Heating Up, and then when you crit a second time, it's going to turn that buff into Hot Streak. Hot Streak makes our next Power Blast or Flame Cast instant strike, and it also doubles the damage of your Ignite. In order to make sure that we get Hot Streaks, you're going to need to use Fire Blast after heating up because Fire Blast always crits. So what's the general rotation like as a Fire Mage? Well, you mainly want to be hard casting Fireball until you get a crit, and then that's going to give us Heating Up. Then you'll want to use Fire Blast to turn the Heating Up into a Hot Streak. Then, once you get Hot Streak, you'll want to cast Power Blast, because then it's going to be an instant cast. Repeat this process, and always make sure that you never cap out on Fire Blasts. You'll have 3 stacks of Fire Blast, so make sure that you're always using them up, except when you're getting ready to use Combustion. So that's essentially the basic rotation, but what about Combustion? Combustion is our primary DPS cooldown, and it's going to take a little bit of setup because we need to make sure that we have at least 2+ charges of Fire Blast and 2+ charges of Phoenix Flames. During Combustion, you want to try to get as many instant cast Power Blasts as you can. In order to do this, we need to make sure that we have Fire Blast and Phoenix Flames ready. Just keep in mind that there is no magic number of Power Blasts that you need to hit during your combustion window. You just want to try to get in as many as you possibly can. So how do you do this? Well, every Power Blast you cast is going to give you Heating Up, so you just need to cast another spell in order to turn that into a Hot Streak. Fire Blast and Phoenix Flames are both instant cast abilities, and during Combustion, those are going to crit. So the idea is that you pop Combustion, and then you're casting Power Blast, and then Fire Blast, Phoenix Flames, Pyro, Fire Blast, etc. If you don't have any instant cast spells during this Combustion window, then hard cast Scorch. Make sure that you're using Combustion on cooldown as much as you possibly can, because that's where the most of our damage comes from. So let's look at our opener. This is what you want to do at the start of every boss fight. If you have the talent Firestarter and Sun King's Blessing, then at the beginning of the fight, you're going to want to cast Fireball and spend Hot Streak on Pyro Blast. Do not overcap on Fire Blast charges. Once you reach 8 stacks of Sun King's Blessing, hardcast Pyro Blast and activate Combustion at the end of that cast. Even if the target is still above 90% health, continue afterwards as normal. For the opener with only the Firestarter talent, you're going to do the same thing, except you're going to hold Combustion until once the boss hits 90% health. And then the opener without Firestarter, you're not going to do anything special, you're just going to enter Combustion immediately and continue on as normal. So now that you have the opener down, let's look at the rotation outside of the combustion window. The rotation itself isn't exactly a rotation, it's more of a priority system, and you're basically trying to prioritize certain spells or events over others. So, you should be casting Shifting Power if Combustion is not off cooldown soon and you have no Fire Blast charges. Cast Rune of Power with Sun King's Blessing. Hardcast a Pyro Blast with Pyroclasm or Sun King's Blessing. Cast Phoenix Flames if you're about to cap on charges. Cast Fire Blast if you're about to cap on charges. Cast Pyro Blast with Hot Streak. cast Fire Blast with heating up, cast Scorch if the target is below 30% health, cast Fireball. So that's what you should be doing while you're waiting for Combustion to get off cooldown. So moving on to the Combustion rotation, or priority. When you pop Combustion, cast Shifting Power if you do not have enough Fire Blast charges to extend Feel the Burn. Cast Pyroblast with Pyroclasm or Sun King's Blessing. Cast Pyroblast with Hot Streak, cast Fire Blast with Heating Up, cast Phoenix Flames with Heating Up, cast Scorch if you are able to generate and spend another Hot Streak, cast Ice Nova. Your AoE rotation is the exact same as your single target rotation because of your Ignite damage. Fire Blasting a target will make Ignite spread to nearby targets. So for AoE, you just want to do your single target rotation. We don't even pick up Flame Strike in our talents. The biggest takeaway is when you're doing AoE with a single target Ignite focused rotation is that you must be attacking the target with the highest amount of health in order to get the most damage and benefit from Ignite. Do not focus lower HP targets. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this spec guide. I plan to do more guides like this in the future, but before you go, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because it really helps promote my channel and grow it. Thanks so much for checking out my content, and I will see you guys in the next video.